What is going on, everybody? I'm not gonna lie, I love that new intro. I love it. I get to jam out a little bit before the post game show starts, and I'm loving it. I'm here with my man Tiago. What is going on, Tiago? How you doing?
Been good, man. Phenomenal Sixers win tonight.
Sir.
Turns out Ime Udoka is not Steve Kerr. Who knew?
Oh man, oh man.
For those of us who lived the Ime Udoka era in the Philadelphia land, Boston fans, good luck, man. Good luck. That's all I got to say.
Let's be honest, that roster isn't built too well right now. Let's be honest. Let's be honest with that. But guys, good win tonight for the Sixers, 111-99. Joel Embiid had a massive game, and so did Tyrese Maxey. You love to see that. 5 threes, 5 for 7 from 3 to be specific from Tyrese Maxey. You love to see him growing his game and showing off his game, especially against a rival like the Celtics. Now, we are without Dibes tonight, and I know everyone's going to hate that because, we hate it. We love Dibes. We love having him here. But we are going to venture on. Me and Tiago are going to do it tonight, and we're going to hit all the marks. So let's talk about the big man. Let's talk about Joel Embiid. Tiago, what did you see tonight from Joel Embiid that encouraged you a lot?
Well, I'll be honest. I didn't really think this was like a big Joel Embiid game, and that's not a criticism of Joel Embiid. I think that Boston was pretty clear on their intent. They were not going to let Joel Embiid score inside the restricted area. I don't know if you have you may have even the shot chart that's up. I don't know if you have it or not, Justin, but he didn't get a ton of looks inside of the paint, which again, it's going to happen because Joel Embiid is such a dominant force. But what you saw tonight from Joel Embiid is a scheme altering player. So when the Sixers beat the drums off Boston's in the first quarter, what Boston had to go to was to that zone defense. And that's primarily because of Joel Embiid. I mean, early in the game, they had no answers for him. And Joel Embiid is, again, that type of player that can completely alter a team's scheme. And you saw that a lot tonight with Boston. So when Boston went to that zone is when the Sixers kind of struggle a little bit. I'm going to talk about more why that is. But again, what you see from Joel Embiid, even though it's not a particular dominant offensive game where he's dominating every possession, is a scheme altering player. And Boston, with all their defensive players, Robert Williams, Al Horford, still had to go to a zone to stop him. So it's more of domination, even though it's not a domination on the box score. And it bodes well for the Sixers because they're going to face a team like Miami tomorrow night. And tomorrow night, Miami plays a heavy zone defense, and the Sixers got a little bit of a glimpse of what that's going to look like tonight. I thought there was a little bit of mixed results in terms of how they executed offensively, but overall, I mean, you can't say anything bad about Embiid. He's been on a tear, man. He's been on an MVP tear. I don't know what you think, Justin. For me, it's just another standard dominant Joel Embiid game.
Yeah, JoJo's just ridiculous, man. 25 points for him. I feel like when he first started becoming the player he is now, 25 points everyone was super excited about, and now 25 points just feels like normality. It just feels like it's an easy 25 for him now with the free throws he gets, with the amount of fouls he creates, and just with the mid-range shots he hits. It's insane to watch. But I do want to talk about you brought up the zone, and you brought up the Sixers and how they handle the zone. The reason they were able to handle the zone a little pretty well tonight in some aspects was because of Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey, with the shots that he was hitting from the perimeter, really did help them. Since halftime, I would say was when he started hitting the most of his threes. I think it was. Like I said, but when we first got on here, 5 of 7 from 3. Tyrese Maxey 8 of 16 overall. Man, the guy not only is he hitting threes, but the way that he is around the rim, the efficiency around the rim already, and then being efficient from the perimeter. That's the perfect Daryl Morey player. Let's just think about that. It's the perfect Daryl Morey guy. So talk about Tyrese Maxey a bit for me.
Yeah, it's got to start with confidence with Tyrese, man. I mean, we've talked about this many times in the podcast. The ball swings his way, he's going to shoot. And he shot a lot of it tonight. And we talked about this in the past. That corner three, I tweeted this during the game. He came into tonight shooting 63% from the corner. 63% from the corner. So there's clearly something there that the Sixers can exploit. Obviously, the shorter distance helps.
Yeah.
But even still, I mean, he hit him from the wing, from above the big three. He's not shy about scoring. You know, the Sixers offense not very creative in how they deploy players off the ball, but they
Yeah.
rely a lot on ball movement. And when the ball gets to him, he's very decisive in terms of pump fake and drive, or dribble drive and attack his defender off the dribble. And that's a weapon for the Sixers, man. I thought that Maxey was phenomenal tonight, absolutely phenomenal. And even going to the defensive end where he had to defend Jaylen Brown in multiple possessions, you did not see him get abused the way that you expected Jaylen Brown to take on Tyrese Maxey. So defensively, yes, he still comes with his flaws, but I thought that overall, like, he played a phenomenal game. I think, you know, for a team that is looking for that 1B player, and I'm not saying Tyrese is that 1B player, they're not getting that 1B from top Tobias Harris. It's just not happening so far this year. Obviously, Curry's been a phenomenal player so far, but you see games like this from Tyrese, and it's extremely exciting because the potential just radiates off the screen. I mean, 3-level scorer, attacks the rim, puts pressure at a high level, shoots from distance, you know, can defend at somewhat capable level. So, again, against a very good defense, by the way. Boston's one of the top defenses in the NBA. So overall, I thought that this is the kind of game the Sixers won from Maxey. And hopefully get more of that going on the second half of the year, because this was definitely exciting, man. Extremely exciting.
Yeah, and we touched on the defense that Tyrese Maxey did against Jaylen Brown. I think we should talk about another guy who played Jaylen Brown pretty well tonight, and that's Seth Curry. I know we talked about his offense a little bit, but Seth Curry, man, there were a few times where he was in the post with Jaylen Brown that I was pretty impressed with his defense. And I don't know if you saw it as well, but his hands feel like they're always in the right spot. Like he's not the biggest guy. Like Steph Curry's barely 6'2", if that. But I feel like defensively his hands are always at the ball and never really hitting the arms unless he's making them, unless he's trying to, which he does a lot. But I don't know. And you're making a bit of a face right now. I don't know if you're agreeing with me or not, but
I agree with you.
Seth Curry played pretty well on Jaylen Brown.
No, I agree with you hardly. Just I think that Curry battles on defense. He's not like a JJ Redick. JJ Redick was like a
Traffic cone
fighter on defense, traffic cone. You just like come right in. I have a next career to take care of. I'm not going to really put up much of a fight.
Oh, don't do that. I like JJ.
Curry's not that. I thought that Curry competes defensively. But here's the thing I think we got to land on, because there's a lot of talk about Jaylen Brown as a guy who the Sixers should get on a Ben Simmons trade. And granted, if Jaylen Brown becomes available, it's a no-brainer, in my opinion. I mean, you got to make that trade, because
100%.
I think from all the names that are being thrown out there, he's probably the highest level ceiling player. But Jaylen Brown comes with a lot of flaws, man. A lot of flaws. And you saw most of them tonight. Not a great passer. Not particularly great post-up offensive player. If you look at his scoring metrics, he's average to above average in most of them. Pick and roll ball handler, post-ups, isolation. So to think that you can bring in a Jaylen Brown and he's going to slot right into Joel Embiid, and that's your core for a championship, I'm not sure I'm buying that. And I think we have enough evidence to see that, because Boston has that 1A, 1B with Tatum and Brown, and they're the 19th ranked offense in the NBA. They are a putrid offense, and it's an offense designed for Tatum and Brown to do their own thing. So, yes, if Jaylen comes here, you take it, obviously, because the guy's a good player, but you still need that orchestrator, point guard around those two that can facilitate easier offense. Because I don't know about you, Justin, game on the line, I don't trust just Jaylen Brown to give me any type of crunch time buckets, man, to win championship or a playoff series. I don't know. Maybe you see it differently. I just don't see it. I mean, I don't see it. And the playmaking has not evolved to a level that other players, like, for instance, Kevin Durant, can still do when he has, a defense attract him. So I don't know. Maybe you have a different opinion on that.
So my opinion is very weird with the Boston situation in general, and then on top of the fact of the possibility, now it's very unlikely, but the possibility of a Ben Simmons for Jaylen Brown type trade. I do think overall, the grand scheme of things, I think that trade would be beneficial for both teams. I think Jaylen Brown is kind of in a weird situation for himself when Boston, where him and Tatum, kind of tried to play the same way, and it's not like realistically, I think they're both forwards that play a very similar type of basketball, and it's hard when you have two pretty inefficient scorers on the same team trying to get the buckets in the same spots in the same ways. And so I feel like a lot of times that to me devalues the way he plays with the Celtics. I feel like he brings a type of basketball that the Sixers do not have yet, or at least do not have at this moment. Um, and what I think that's a shot creating wing that can play defense pretty well, can play above the rim at times, and I think with like you said, with a guy around him that can kind of be the dominant ball handler and maybe play at a different half court offense could be more beneficial for him. I said that we talked about this a little bit before we came on the stream, me and Tiago, but I do think that Brown could benefit from playing in a half court offense with a guy like Joel Embiid, and you see it very similarly with before Michael Porter Jr. got hurt with the Denver Nuggets. Now, I'm obviously two very different players. Michael Porter Jr. is 6'10" in comparison to Jaylen Brown. But if you really look at their games, they get buckets in similar ways at times. The off the dribble shooting in the mid range, the off the dribble shooting in the 3-point area, the post game, and a lot of times Porter has a lot more room to work with because he's got a big center that can stretch the court. I think if you put a team together where a guy that doesn't have to dribble the ball as much, where you have Maxey, Seth Curry on the floor, who are kind of the more playmaker type players, and you have Jaylen Brown running around hitting shots and just being able to be that guy running around a screen and just getting open shots more often, I think he's be more beneficial. I really do. Now, who knows? That's a very unlikely trade scenario to happen, but I don't think either side would be upset with that situation.
The guys, you can see athleticism, huge plus. Sixers
100%.
tonight had Korkmaz defending Tatum off the bench. So I noted it down as like, this is a clear need for the Sixers. When you step down from Matisse, they didn't have Danny Green tonight. Who is defending the other team's best player on the wing? And tonight was Korkmaz. So clear need right off the bat, athleticism on the wing, particularly off the bench. So they need to address that. But obviously, Jaylen would be a phenomenal addition to that kind of dynamic. But again, I think when we talk about late game execution, I don't trust getting the ball out of Seth Curry's hands and putting a guy like Jaylen Brown. It's just the way that the season has so far shaped out. So I mean, we'll see.
I don't
This
disagree.
is not a Celtics podcast. We don't want to go too deep on the Celtics. You asked the question: Seth Curry defending Jaylen Brown in the post, and it's obviously Curry's energy and desire to
100%.
defend,
Yeah.
but it's mostly Jaylen Brown being a little bit of a zero on the post. So.
Yeah. Another person I want to talk about on the defensive side of the ball is Matisse Thybulle, and I think today he was just a monster on the defensive end. He had 5 steals and 2 blocks. That's insane. That's crazy. Let's remind everybody. I mean, I guess tonight he played bigger minutes, but he played 28 minutes. Now, there are a lot of guys in the NBA who are deemed defensive stoppers or defensive player of the year candidates or in the first team defense that really don't ever have games like that. 5 steals and 2 blocks. Like, that's crazy. It's crazy. And it's the fashion that he gets them, and it's from the hustle plays, it's from reading the defender, anticipating passing lanes, and just being a hard-nosed guy. And you saw it all game, and it was so nice. I mean, you saw him not only with and I'm not even talking about just the numbers of the steals and blocks. I'm talking about just getting people to pump fake. We saw that a few times where there was a play, I can't remember completely. I'm trying to picture it in my head. There was a play where I believe it was Jason Tatum had it. He made Jason Tatum throw it over to the corner to Dennis Schroeder. He made Dennis Schroeder pump fake, throw it back to Jason Tatum, and then he went and defended Jason Tatum's shot. That's like stuff like that is not only effort, but also just straight skill. Like it's crazy to me. So I want to hear what you have to say about Matisse Thybulle and just maybe some things you saw today, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we got to start the Matisse Thybulle conversation around the bubble series with Boston. If you remember, that series they didn't have Ben Simmons. and Tease got called on to defend Jason Tatum, and it was a bloodbath. I mean, Tease was a rookie being asked to defend Tatum at a very high level, high stakes game. And he had a tough time, and Tatum averaging something like 30 points in that series. It's not the case tonight, man. I mean, Matisse was a good defender his rookie year. And you see the impact that he has now 2 years later on a team like the Celtics, defending the same type of players, the same player in particular, Jason Tatum. I mean, he made Jason Tatum look very, very small. Very, very small. And not many players, man, can do that. I mean, Tatum can make himself look small in his own way by his shot selection, but I know it's a pro Tatum podcast. Don't worry.
Dude, first you're talking smack on Jaylen Brown. Now you're talking smack on Jason Tatum. I'm shocked that we don't get more Celtics fans in here. Just completely like I am so surprised with how much smack you talk on Twitter about the Celtics. I'm shocked people don't come to this show just to talk smack to you.
Hey man, we're all friends at the end. We're all friends. But I mean, and we talked about this. Tatum, I mean not Tatum, Thibault, matchup player, man. You get a guy like Tatum, you get a guy like Durant, you get those guys who are high level scorers on the perimeter. Thibault's made to defend those players, and he was phenomenal tonight. I thought that early in the game, he completely flipped the dynamic. I thought that Boston got off hot in the first couple of 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And after that, it was one turnover after another turnover, one turnover after another turnover. And it was all mostly due to Thibault. You know, his ability, like you said, to hedge towards the perimeter and then go back, hedge again, make people hesitate and not shoot the three-pointer. Mm-hmm. I mean, not many players have that. If you look at Thibault's distance travel over the course of a game, the NBA can track that on their website. He's one of the players that travels the most amount of feet or miles, they call him, in the NBA defensively. So, I mean, there's so much in there that's not being covered in the box score from steals and blocks or whatever that goes into Thibault's game that we saw on full display tonight. So I thought that he made a complete impact on Boston's offensive scheme. And for a team like Boston relies a lot on perimeter shooting and isolation, it's a bad mix, man, because this guy's going to shut down players at a very high level. So he did it again tonight, man. I thought it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
100%, and it's insane. It genuinely is. Like, you don't, and we've been saying it forever, but you don't expect a guy who really doesn't have a lot in his game besides defense to be this productive. Like, there's guys that are known for defense. You look at guys like Patrick Beverley. You look at guys like, I don't even know who else was like Avery Bradley in his heyday, like, who all like have some offensive skill sets that they're able to be productive on times. Yes,
he's the guy now.
Yeah, but like Matisse, like, he's still productive without being that productive on offense, which is crazy to think about because there's not a lot of players in the league that can actually stay on a good team and like a contending sort. I mean, I wouldn't. Do you call the Sixers contenders right now? I don't know if you call the Sixers contenders right now.
I wouldn't call the Sixers contenders, but I would call them like the next tier down on the East. Yeah. So you got your two teams, and I would probably put the Sixers on there primarily because of Joel Embiid.
They're a playoff team. Of
course.
But you look around at playoff teams, you don't see a lot of legitimate playoff teams that have players on that team that are one-dimensional. Like, he's, and it's sad to say because I want him to be more than one-dimensional, but that's what he is right now. It's what he is right now. Hopefully he grows into something else. Who knows? We'll see. But it's impressive. Is there any player you want to talk about? Like, do you want to get into Tobias Harris? Or do you want to get into anybody on the Celtics?
I mean, we can talk about Tobias. It's not good, man. Like, the Sixers need more from Tobias Harris and from obviously the shot who has completely evaporated in the game. Completely evaporated. I mean, 3-point shooting right now is just, I don't even know what he's shooting the last like 10 games or so. It's got to be below like 30% for sure.
Yeah, he was 1 for 6 tonight.
1 for 6 tonight. It's the decision making, man, and the decision making is something that has always been Tobias's kind of downfall. Slow guy on the ball, slow guy to make the pass, to react, to see the help defense. Always a step slow, always. And that's been a hindrance for the Sixers, man, because they don't have a guy like Ben Simmons who made quick decisions. So for all the faults that Ben had as an offensive player, one of the things that Ben was very good at was it was a very quick reaction, open guy, take a step towards the driving lane or in transition, make that quick outlet pass. The Sixers don't have that in their roster. And as a result, those decisions have fallen to Tobias Harris. And
Yeah.
you can clearly see when you watch in the game, the Sixers, for instance, try to beat Miami, Boston zone. Miami's gonna be tomorrow. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
With they try to get Joel on like a little duck in like lob pass inside, right? So Joel's in the middle of that zone, but he's sealed off his defender and he's just waiting for a little like duck in like lob pass.
Yeah.
And Tobias, man, you could just see it. Like it just does not click. It's a step slow. He pump fakes, and one little pump fake, the help defense can get there and kind of seal off that passing window. So Sixers, man, and they need somebody that in that role who's a quick kind of decision maker. And Doc continues to trust ball handling duties on Tobias Harris. So
See, I would
the
actually disagree with that. I would disagree with that. I think that they have definitely consciously taken the ball out of Tobias's hands more often. Like I think early in the season, you definitely saw that he was primarily the guy taking the ball up at times. But I feel like I've seen more and more they're putting out lineups there with Tobias that they have at least Furkan, Seth, Maxey, guys like that who can take the ball up. And even Embiid's like ball handling has gone up. And we've seen that throughout this year, but you definitely see Embiid bring the ball up more. You see it more diversified than you saw it last year when Ben was out. If Ben was out last year, primarily you saw Tobias taking the ball up. You don't see that as much this year.
Yeah, and you're probably right, but excuse me. I think that overall they just need more from him. They need more from him as a player when he's on the ball. If you can't contribute with your shooting, there's got to be different ways for you to contribute. And I'll go defensively.
Yeah.
He's struggling to defend size and agility, something that I thought he did very well last year. So the last year, one of the things that he was very strong at was being able to defend up position. And the Sixers even tried him at like a stretch 5 role a few times last year and earlier this year because he can defend a little bit big. But Al Horford just completely annihilated him tonight. And he's struggling with Tatum in space. So defensively, he's taking a step back. Offensively, he's taking a step back. And then decision making has just been compounding effect of just poor decisions and slow decisions.
Yeah, and I would actually argue that the slow decisions I don't see as much in the half court as much as I do in full court. There's a lot of times where he is the Sixers are running in transition. I think I saw it like at least twice that I can remember off the top of my head where there was a steal in transition or there was a quick rebound and a running down and he got caught in the air I believe twice that I can remember. So like obviously it's never good when you get caught in the air on a transition steal. That's never a good thing because those should be easy buckets for your team, especially if they're not fouling you. Like that to me should say something right there. Think about this. In the NBA, just about every time there's a transition steal or a long rebound and there's another guy down the court, you're getting fouled. If they think it's either an easy bucket, whatever, you're going to get fouled so they can stop the ball. No one ever fouls Tobias Harris when he's running down the court.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's when he's running down the court, they're like, okay, something's gonna happen. I just thought about that just now.
And that's the thing that I also had this conversation with somebody earlier. I'm like, without Ben Simmons, these transition opportunities land directly in his hands.
Yeah.
Joe is taking a little more of that initiative where he grabs a rebound and runs, but
yeah,
it's tough to watch, man, because it's bad. So
yeah.
I don't want to keep compounding the conversation, but it's
we don't have to. I get it. So overall, what would you say? Who was your player of the game today?
It's got to be Tyrese, man. It's got to be Maxey. It's the type of game I think you want from Maxey. Obviously, you want him orchestrating more offense within the scheme.
Yeah.
But for what the Sixers have him doing, ball swings his way, you go 5 for 6 from the 3-point line. That would change outcomes of games, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. The Sixers were down Danny Green tonight, continue to be down Shake Milton. So you got to take on a little more defensive responsibilities. Had to defend Jaylen Brown. This usually would have gone to Danny Green, obviously. So It's good to see, man. I mean, the guy's coming off kind of a little hiatus from COVID or whatever he had. Apparently, it was not really COVID. So
Mhm.
it's just good to see him get back in the swing of things and not really miss a beat. And the Sixers, they're gonna need him, man. They're gonna need him because they got a tough one tomorrow night.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's a great pick. And if you didn't pick him, I would have. So I'm gonna go with Joel Embiid, though, man. Just always, always, always super impressive. And I mean, I think this kind of puts it together. These two comments, Quentin Moore's comment and Steven's comment here, single digit turnovers tonight, like definitely impressive, especially when I swear the Sixers every time they played the Celtics like 2, 3 years ago, it was an insane amount of turnovers, and a lot of them were because of Joel Embiid in the post getting doubled and not being able to smartly pass out or dribble out of the double team. And this is where I go to Quentin Moore's comment here and been impressed with Embiid's dribbling this year. I've been impressed with Embiid's dribbling over like his growth in playmaking and ball handling over the past 2, 3 years. It's when you go up against a team and go up against a player like Al Horford and a team like that who's typically really good defensively and who's had your number in the past, you always want to show out. And to me, that's the biggest thing right there. The fact that Joe has shown out against Al Horford, who used to struggle with so much. He used to have, I feel like he used to have damn near 5 turnovers every single game he would play against Horford, even more than that at times. So,
The one point of Joel is I really want to bring it up because we all watch Joe very closely. And
yeah.
if you're watching Joe very, very closely, you notice that he adds something to his game every single year.
Yep.
So it was the post up game in the beginning, right? He needs to work on his post up games, limit the turnovers there, and go from there. Last year was the dribble drive, extend his defender out in space, and take him off the dribble. This year has been the passing, transition, making live passes off the dribble. So you see every single year he adds something to his game. So I'm very excited to see what he's going to add next year to his game because he's going to come out with something next year. And we're like, all right, this is it, Joe. There's nothing else he can do. He's going to come out with something. We're like, wow, now Embiid's doing this. For everybody who thinks that Embiid is at the decline of his career or he's going to start embarking on the decline, I'll say like pump the brakes on that because there's really no signs that this guy is slowing down, and it's exciting to watch, man. This guy is like a guard in his center's body. It's extremely exciting.
Yeah, and so I think, and just to end this point out, I think it's key to remember this. And for a lot of years for Joe, he never was able to really work on his game in the offseason because he was always injured. And the past 2 seasons, like obviously he had the knee injury that he was nursing all off season, I'm sure, but he was still able to train, still able to practice, still able to grow his game. And you've noticed for the past 2 years where he was actually somewhat healthy going into the off season, he was really able to grow his game. In the past 2 years, you've seen him be an MVP candidate. That's just where it's at. And so, yeah,
He
it's
came out
great.
of that bubble summer, so the quarantine summer.
Yeah.
He went into that bubble like a completely different player. You could clearly tell. And I remember listening to a podcast with Drew Hanlon, his trainer. He was saying that like Joel came to him and was like, listen, I want to spend like these next couple months just working on my game.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy said it was every single day at the gym during the quarantine period. And he went in that bubble. The Sixers got run out of town by Boston, but he was dominant in that bubble. He was that from then on out. It's been nothing but upwards trajectory for Joel.
Agreed. So let's get out of here, guys. If you do not already, please go follow Tiago on Twitter at tscabby. Great Twitter follow. How many follows you got right now? I feel like you're up there. You're almost at 2,000, aren't you? You got to be somewhere close to that. But yes, go follow Tiago, man. The guy knows what he's talking about, and I listen. Just about every time I see a tweet from him, I like it or retweet it. I feel like because it's always smart stuff, always good. Go follow me on Twitter if you do not already. Blue Coats Basketball. Blue Coats Basketball is back, and it's gonna be good again because they just got all those guys back who are on 10-day contracts. So Shaquille Harrison's back down there, Braxton Key's down there, Jaden Springer is back. He had scored 25 points.
Yesterday. How was that like the game last night? It was really good.
Yeah, it was pretty good game. They played against Boston's G League team, so funny enough. But yeah, Braxton Key and oh my goodness, Jaden Springer had pretty good games. So definitely go check out those highlights on them. I believe they're on NBA G League YouTube. You can go check those out. And yeah, dude, we're having fun. We're having fun here. So go give us a follow, like the video if you have not already. We really appreciate it. Help us grow. Help this get viewed by other people. And if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. What are you doing? What are you doing if you're not subscribed? I don't understand. There's so much content that comes out of this channel, man. All right. But
Eagles content, big weekend.
Eagles content as well. But for Tiago, for myself, we will see y'all next time. All right. Peace.